Force.
Hey guys, welcome to Trinity Force Podcast. My name is Adam Ponophobia Cogswell, and I do want to know, how do 4 guys make a Triforce? Can you guys answer that for me?
I don't think anybody has in the whole time you've been running the show.
There's been a lot of
I'd
speculation.
like to see a well-thought-out answer, though, sent to feedback@trinityforcepodcast.com.
Well thought out. It's going to be like the recipe cost and one person's, but normally there's 5 people here, and tonight we don't have 5. We're only rolling with 4. So as everybody is super zoomed in on the stream, I apologize, guys. I can't really fix that right now because we are live. So this week on the live stream, you get to look at Dom's forehead and Claude's beard and Chira eating peaches the entire time.
Yeah.
And that is your introductions for this week. So, guys, 2 quick announcements before we jump into Viktor and Soraka discussion. 1, Columbus, Ohio, October 18th, 1 p.m., Elevator Brewing Company. If you're around that area and you want to come hang out with us and you want to talk League of Legends and drink some beer and, enjoy the pre-Worlds party, come to us, the Elevator Brewing Company. Shira Jaden will be there. I'll be there. We'll have some T-Force swag, and we'll be ready to talk to you guys and enjoy everything. And we're going to have other friends and stuff that are being there at the Best Yeti. He's coming down to the Best Yet. Urtai and Punchinello. We've all talked about them in the podcast or had them on at previous times. So, yeah, Elevator Brewing Company, 1 p.m., Columbus, Ohio, October 18th. And the other piece of news that I had, October 6th, which is next Monday, is going to be a amazing Trinity Force podcast episode, not only because it's episode 200, but because I will leave you with one piece of information. 12. That's all I'm going to say. 12. October 6th, episode 200. 12. Okay, so that's it, guys. Join us next week for that live. You need to be there live. Stream.trinityforcepodcast.com at 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. 12 is the secret for this. So that is that. We did have a donation come in, so I will read your name off actually on Monday while we're doing all that. I apologize for having it in front of me, but if you guys wanted to also donate to the podcast and hear your name listed off with the giant list, look below the stream or on trinityforcepodcast.com for the donation button. We do appreciate your help as October rolls around, as server costs and whatnot need to be re-upped, and we're looking forward to hosting this podcast and talking to you guys more. So big shout out to all the people in Twitch chat. What's up, Stream Monsters?
Yeah.
Howdy, fellas.
Big round of applause for y'all.
And now you guys get
Thanks
to
for
listen to
watching
us
live.
talk about Viktor and Soraka. Who are we ready for first? I think we need to talk about Soraka.
We'll definitely
Sounds
have a
good to
longer
me.
conversation about Soraka, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mainly because I have only played against a Viktor, but I have
Or played as
played
Viktor.
and been played. So, well, all right, let's start with the Viktor discussion. If Dom, do you mind leading that off?
So, honestly, fundamentally, his kit is the same as it's always been. There are some nuances that are different, but if you only played Viktor a handful of times, you are going to log into a game as Viktor, and everything is going to more or less feel the same. You are just going to be hitting and doing things a lot better than you used to. The nuances that are different are he gets a movement speed boost when he gets an auto attack modifier when he uses his Q now. In addition to the shield, it does less damage than it used to. W is pretty much the same. E no longer deals the same type of damage that it used to. It's been a little bit reduced, and the range feels shorter. But when you augment it, it has a different effect as opposed to the burning damage over time. It has like a secondary explosion. That is way, way quicker than I thought it was going to be, by the way.
The
way
secondary
it procs?
explosion.
Yeah, it's quick. That's all I can really say to describe it and everything. Like, it goes, and then a split second later it pops again. You can very realistically miss getting that secondary explosion on a lot of champions. They don't even have to be that mobile, but an attentive player is going to easily dodge it. But in the chaos of a team fight, it's really easy to forget about that secondary explosion, and that's going to deal a considerable chunk of damage. What makes Viktor better than he was before, the changes are all nice. They're all things that make him a more compelling character to play as and everything, but what makes him better is what they did to the Hex Core. That item was always just a very, very maligned item because it didn't get, it felt like a mid-tier AP item, but you were required to get it in every single game. Even after you upgraded it, and the Death Ray was dealing more damage, it still felt like a pretty lowbrow mid-tier item. And to me, that was always the thing that was keeping him from being this a more popular champion. now what it does is it gives him an ability power boost at every time he levels up. And then additionally, he can invest 1,000 gold into it up to 3 times, or is it 4? Bunch of times. To continue to augment both the bonuses, the bonus stats that it gives, and his abilities. On the 4th upgrade, you actually even end up upgrading your alt. And so being able to unlock all of the upgrades to his abilities as opposed to just one and then being stuck with that for the rest of the game really opens up this champion and makes him much, much more compelling. And the ability power on that item is considerable. It's comparable to like a death cap.
What, the final item, right?
Yeah, the final item, but even as you upgrade it incrementally and everything, like your abilities are getting better and you're getting better stats out of it.
The primary is 3 ability power per level. The Hex Core MK-1 is 4 ability power per level and 20 ability power and 150 mana. That's and
that's a nice boost. Like when you at 1,000 gold, you're probably still going to get Chalice first and everything, just because otherwise you're going to drain yourself of mana and everything like you normally would. But when you get the opportunity to upgrade that again, that bonus mana is a really nice boost on top of the ability power and everything.
So you're looking at 3,000 gold to get that final item, so you're buying 3,000 gold.
Do you have the final stats for that?
Grants Victor plus 6 ability power per level, 60 ability power, and 500 mana.
So if you do the math at level 18, it gives you a 168 ability power just on that one item.
I mean, that's insane. That's shit ton of ability power.
That's a lot of AP.
And it's because you get to step upgrade it as opposed to committing 1,600 to a needlessly large rod and then all you're getting is ability power. Like it really brings Viktor right back into the fray. And all the I touched base on all the augments for his abilities and everything. But the big difference to Viktor now as opposed to what he was before the rework is the auto attack modifier on Q, which I touched on. That's it's an immense amount of damage because without cooldown reduction, it's an auto attack modifier that he gets every 4 seconds. And if you combine that with Lich Bane and even just a little bit of ability power, you're dealing around 1,000 damage with just an auto attack.
That's at max level. With that ranked up. Yeah. That is great. I like the fact that you can trade, and that allows you to trade harder in lane, but the fact that the shield is now instant, and it doesn't have to bounce and then bounce back to you.
Doesn't have to reach.
You know what? I actually noticed that when I was playing him. I forgot to make a note about it, but yeah, like all of a sudden getting that shield right away makes trading way, way different with him.
Yeah.
It's big quality of life.
that was one of the big, besides Gravity Field having a super short range and not stunning right away or taking too long to stun, my biggest gripe with Viktor was that he couldn't trade effectively if his death ray was on cooldown, because it looked like you could walk in, get your shield, and then pummel them a little bit. So actually being able to use Siphon Power to grab a shield, auto attack, trade with somebody, you're doing double the amount of damage than even previously.
His Siphon Power just gives him extra effective health before the trade happens rather than after the damage has already gone through, which is enormous.
And the shield, like the other big thing is that the on hit modifier ranks up with level, not with rank in the ability. That improves with level. So level 1, it's dealing 20, then 25, 30, 35, etc., and so on and so forth and everything. So you can actually just put 1 point into that ability and then focus on leveling up death rate, unless you really want the shield.
The shield ranks with rank.
Right.
And the cooldown gets significantly lower.
It does. It goes from 10 seconds all the way down to 4.
Yep. And it's got a better range now than the old Q. It's 700 range now. So
that's not even a static cooldown. That's not a static cooldown, right? That's affected by
that's
CDR.
That's affected by CDR. Yeah.
So at 4 seconds at max range, so you can just you're spamming with a machine gun.
Yeah, I mean with the CDR you would have from Masteries and then just Athenes, it's I mean that's 25%. That's 3 second a 3 second cooldown. It's up all the time and it's dealing a ton of damage. I fully expect them to hit the cooldown in that ability, just because he gets so much ability power from the Hex Core itself that by the time he gets Lich Bane, he is way ahead on the ability power front compared to his contemporaries, and so he's hitting like a truck.
So that's why I wonder if people, instead of maxing Death Ray, they might put like 2 points in the Death Ray, or maybe 3, and then start throwing everything in the Siphon Power once they have their Lynchbane, or right before it. That, obviously people are building him a certain way now, or working toward it, but I could see that in the future for super hard Dragon trades, or, just dropping Gravity Field down and you are doing that burst damage to blow someone up.
Yeah, I can see that. I'd probably prefer to rank Q just for that cooldown alone.
I think it depends on the dynamic of the lane.
I was going to say it's matchup. I mean, if you have somebody that can potentially all in you, like, let's just go with Fizz. You may want to sit farther back and play safe with the extra farm rather than risk giving up a early kill to somebody who can dominate you if he gets slightly ahead.
See, that's the thing with Siphon. Yeah, Siphon Power gives you that little bit of shield and movement speed increase. So it's like barrier with the heal movement speed increase once you augment it. So if you spend that first evolution point on Q, it's a safer lane for you.
The one thing we didn't touch on is the augment on W. It's a slow and then it goes into a stun, and that's how it's always worked. But with the augment, the range increases, and also it acts. It functions like Oriana's ult, that it pulls people closer to the center and everything, which actually can be really disruptive in team fights. And it's like much like Soraka's new E, which we're going to touch on later. It's really easy to kind of just wander into that thing without realizing it now.
Right.
I found it like surprisingly easy to use, it seems like you throw it down and you immediately start noticing the slow. Where I felt, and I don't know if this was true, but I felt like the old one, like you threw it down and you didn't really notice anything right off the bat.
You had to hit them in the middle of it to even get some kind of stun. Like you didn't really have you had a chance to run out of it as soon as it landed because the slow wasn't comparable. Like it did nothing. I like this new Viktor because everything they've done, they've changed for the better, and they've actually removed silence on Chaos Storm, which is probably the only thing that I think Viktor mains would really cry about. That his R could just silence somebody, so even if it's not doing damage, it was dropping silence around. But it does interrupt channeled abilities, which is it's a nice trade-off than what it was. But I think when you start shifting power away from his ult and giving it to his other abilities, it makes up for it in the long run. Essentially, it's Gravity Field if you augment it, pulling people in, or having the longer range.
It just adds more utility as well, which is phenomenal for somebody who's going to be able to pump out damage in a way that he'll be able to.
It moves a lot faster than it used to.
Oh god, it was so slow. If you didn't drop it in the right place,
like you can very meaningfully reposition it. If you don't drop it in the right place, you're going to miss all of, like the immense burst damage right off the bat. But for 7 seconds, it's still dealing 80 damage plus 0.24 AP. That's still a lot of. That's a lot of damage that's getting dealt.
70 with a 0.7 AP ratio for the initial damage is quite a bit.
I'm reading 0.55.
Magic damage on here it says 0.7 on the wiki.
Okay,
sorry. No, I was looking at
55% AP.
I had it scrolled too high. You're right. Yeah, it is 0.55. That's a significant amount of extra AP that an ability is receiving.
Yeah, and 350 right off the bat.
Huge.
Yeah, I mean he's a powerful champion now. He has the same limitation that he always had. He doesn't have the same type of mobility skill that you would be looking for, or that a lot of people really like to have on champions these days. You have to augment Q just to get the MS boost.
But out of the champions that are played, like Syndra doesn't have a mobility. She just has
but she has the knock away. That's a different story.
It's a better oh shit button than the gravity field, I think. Because it's up to you to.
But that's
hit
fine.
It.
He has a lot of power, and he sacrifices mobility to get that power. I'm perfectly okay with that trade off. In a champion's design.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Everything.
I haven't seen him much, believe it or not, since the rework. Have any of you?
Not really.
No,
Adam, you said you saw him, didn't you?
I saw him once, but I think to me it's kind of like the death ray is too hard to use for most players. The kind of with Rumble doing the ult. They don't want to play it.
I've heard a lot of fans. They've commented that they really like the new Viktor. And most of them are like old Viktor players, and they like the changes that have been made. I know a couple of people that have been playing him out of the top lane, though I don't know if that'd be any more effective than mid lane, which without the mobility, I don't know.
He seems Rise-esque,
Yeah.
Q can be machine gun. W is his control,
and he gets better as the game goes on.
Kind of like I
do wonder I do wonder if he'll end up being better in top lane just because Gravity Field gives him really good zone
Right.
control. So he's going to be, and with ganks just being a bit more predictable there, like you know they only have 3 directions that they can come as opposed to 6.
But the mana cost on these abilities is, I mean, Gravity Field 65 mana. Death Ray, if you're maxing that, gets a significant mana cost.
Expensive.
It's 70 to start, and that can be very difficult in top lane to be able to get. How much base mana does he have? 240 plus 50
Base mana
per level.
240. Yeah.
So you're essentially 3 E's and you're out of mana. Besides because you're gonna drop a Q here and there.
At the same time, you're likely getting Athenes, and if you're not getting and that's going to address some of the issues. And then also upgrading the Hex Core does give you mana.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as you're last hitting early and you have teleport, it's not that big a deal to go back and get a chalice as soon as you can afford one.
Do you think a Seraph's is a good build path tier because of how fast he can chunk out the Qs?
I'd rather have the cooldown reduction.
I'd rather have the cooldown reduction as well, just so that you can get more and more of those Lich Bang procs.
Go with Themes.
No,
right
I
away.
wouldn't.
Yeah, because
if
you're only looking at one ability. Unlike Rise, that has 3 abilities that are on very low cooldowns that can stack that tier very quickly, or Cassiopeia, you're only really spamming 1 cooldown to get it up.
And
What about Rod of Ages?
it doesn't have cooldown reduction. I mean, I can see it because you're going for the tanky build then, but
Well,
Right, 'cause
even
you're
on the
filling that
tier,
role.
if you have a bunch of abilities you can spam, there it's still gated by a few seconds anyway. So that's not that big of a deal if it's 1 ability or 2 abilities.
It does matter in the long run. It saves you a couple minutes, and it may be in normal solo queue play. It doesn't matter, but as you
Well,
get
I
up in
was
the
about to
higher
say-
rankings and stuff, having that extra 2 minutes on any item is quite significant.
you would never get both Tier and Athenes because doing that delays how quickly you're upgrading your Hex Core, and you don't need to do that on your first trip back. But if you don't have the first upgrade by the, your
Chalice
first upgrade by
first.
the second upgrade, yeah, I would get Chalice and then start
See,
upgrading the
I'm
Hex
not
Core.
mad at the Catalyst because of the levels you'll be getting up in top lane, and
No, that's fine. If
You'd never be
that's
shoved
fine.
out of
You
lane.
don't get the cooldown reduction.
sure.
thing.
Yeah, you don't get the cooldown reduction.
That's the trade-off.
Death Ray being 12 or 13, 12, 11, so you're really bringing that down to 11, 10, 8 or 11, 10, 9 with a little bit of cooldown reduction. But I guess it depends what matchup you're playing and who you're playing into and what your role is in the game. Because if you're teleporting in to drop a Gravity Field Chaos Storm, you might want the Rod of Ages instead, because all you are is a quick AoE. So you're kind of like a Lulu. You walk in, you do your damage, you get out.
Yeah, and that's I mean, it's noticeable. He can chunk down a lot of champions once you get to that mid game level, just because he has so much AoE and he's got an AoE lockdown. There are not a lot of champions with
Well, at
that type of
540
combination.
range for Death Ray, and that's where it starts before it goes out. That you have to be fairly close
Right.
to get at the start.
Right. 1,000 range, though, total. You can just get some nips
Oh, absolutely.
with it. So,
Yeah.
and you just got to be clever with it. It is a skill shot, and that all of his abilities except for Q are skill shots. So,
I do think the Athenes will be the go-to item, of course. But if I saw someone build Rod of Ages, I wouldn't
be
fault
mad.
them for it.
But I would almost never fault somebody for going Rod of Ages. I think that's an
as long as they
underrated
get
item.
don't get it at 25 minutes.
I have a huge affinity for Rod of Ages in the top lane. I don't know what it is, but I
If
just
You
you
like
played
that
top
item.
lane Maokai back in season 1 or whatever.
I just think people need to realize that they're building it. They need to complete that Rod of Ages by 15 minutes. Or
Yeah, if you're going to build it,
Try it.
rush it.
Get it before the.
right, yeah, get it by
So
12.
you,
I mean,
you won't
and-
have an augment.
And I guess
for a
that
while.
would be my hesitation for going for Rod of Ages, is because you have to prioritize that over your Hex Core. And then you could immediately turn your attention to the Hex Core, but you're sacrificing a bit of a power spike because of that.
I don't know if I would be upgrading I mean, you need to upgrade your Hex Core at some point to get that 1 evolution point, so you can drop it in, any of the abilities that you need. So it's really an early buy is a Hex Core at some point. Get that Chalice, then walk into your rank 1 Hex Core probably, so you can get that upgrade.
Yeah, I think you go Chalice Hex Core.
Right. But 1,000 gold is a lot to dump, and you're getting evolution points out of it, so you're increasing your abilities. I do kind of have a problem with the evolution stuff because you have to forego pen to get just raw AP. because it's 1,000 gold, and 1,000 gold. Normally when you walk back, you probably have 800 gold, so you have to stay out there for a little extra longer to get it. Then you coming back to lane, you don't have your source shoes, and instead you have your hex core with 1 evolution point. So you have to make a trade off to get it, and that's going to distinguish the really good Viktor players from.
I was about to say that just
players.
adds depth to the champion, though. So
If you upgrade Death Ray first, I can tell you right now, like wave clearing stops being an issue. He will just push it, and then he can go and do whatever the hell he wants because he's going to kill the minions faster than you can handle it. You need to have that upgrade for it, and you got to be reasonably attentive to how you aim the laser, but it will wipe out minion waves.
Oh, I'm sure it will. It did previously.
Yeah, it's not as fast as it did before, but that thing was ridiculously powerful.
Yeah, I like the. So if we were looking at this, I guess all of his abilities really are what do you want to do and how do you want to do it in the game. He's just very malleable with his augments or evolution points.
I'd like to see a pro player
Pick
play
him
him
up.
and see what they do.
I'm sure there's a streamer out there playing him. I don't think I've watched a League of Legends stream in 6 months. Besides
Wow.
Riot streams.
All the good ones are in Worlds, and right now they're not practicing on this patch. So
Right. They're all going to come back and go, oh my god. Actually, they're playing solo queue on this patch.
Does Soraka do?
yeah,
I
I
think
don't think they are on this patch yet.
Korea is behind with patches.
I think so.
Okay. Not something to worry about too much. So, well, that's what we think about Viktor. I think he's going to be a good champion. Give him some time. I do believe that if you are looking for an AP champion to play, I think you should go pick up Viktor and start playing him because, one, you have the surprise factor because not many people play Viktor, and if you play Viktor well, you're going to more than likely win your lane. And I'm a fan of good fringe picks like that. Like Viktor.
I think he'll teach you a lot of good habits too. Power transfer working the way it does is going to teach you how to trade better. I'm almost like, as I try to shift into mid lane, I'm thinking about even just picking up Viktor to try and work on those types of mechanics because he gives you a good head for it. You don't have mobility, like we stressed earlier, but champions don't need mobility to be successful. He's got anti-mobility.
Well, he does if you augment Siphon Power.
Yeah, that's true. Power transfer. But yeah.
Siphon Power now. It's
is
a
it?
new name now. Yeah.
I'm looking at LOL King because I got really tired of the League of Legends wiki
The ads.
loading ads. Yeah,
Yeah.
that site it's
I preloaded those before the show, so
Okay.
yeah, it's Siphon Power.
That's one of the few websites that I do block ads on is the League of Legends.
yeah.
wiki.
I'm really thinking about it because their ads are just terrible. I try to be supportive of the League of Legends community, not run ad block for that type of thing, but their ads are so horrendously obtrusive. Yeah.
Or obtrusive, yeah.
No, intrusive, invasive, whatever you want to call it.
Well, it's kind of like the old Solomon site, or may still be the same way, where you had to watch a video and shit before. Oh my god!
every
Anyway,
time you looked at a guide.
we're off back. So okay, we'll move on.
By the way,
to
one
go ahead.
more thing, just that I want to note, since we're talking about Siphon Power real quick, that does apply on hit effects and can critically strike if you have any kind of crit. But it's not a projectile, so it'll go through in wall and unbreakable.
Oh, that's good.
That
to know.
I didn't know. That's interesting.
I didn't know that
Yep.
either.
I've seen some things like Viktor
According to the wiki.
hitting for 1,400 damage with Siphon Power. Of course, he was fully built with an Athenes and Lich Bane and an Abyssal and everything, but he was hitting for 1,600 damage off of one ability. You can chunk out a tank that way really
I was
fast.
about to say that's still a lot of damage.
Oh no, that's a ton of
interesting.
damage for one ability.
And a spell shield will block the damage, but won't cancel that shield. Wonder if that's intended.
I'm sure it's a 10, and that type of thing happens all the time.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like-
It's
like,
auto attack, kind of, even though it's magic. But it will
Like
block the
Alistar,
damage.
it blocks the knockback, but it doesn't stop him from going to the person.
Yeah, but I mean, the shield remains. I mean, the shield goes away when you headbutt with Alistar. This, you hit the enhanced attack on someone with a Banshee Veil, for example, the Banshee Veil will remain, and it'll also block the enhanced damage.
Oh, that's probably.
That's
I mean,
interesting.
I thought you were talking about the actual ability itself.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
Interesting.
Build Banshee's Veil. against
Interesting.
Viktor.
Okay, so
Yeah, so-
Soraka. I think we'll have quite a number.
I've seen it.
to talk
I've
about
seen a little bit of her. I've
Yeah.
seen a little bit of her.
We got beat by her the other day.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
got to kill her if you
Yeah.
run into her. Don't make the mistake of thinking that the support can live until the end or something. You got to kill her.
Now, here's one interesting thing. Her new star call, the animation for it, looks like it's a skill shot coming out of the fog of war.
Mhm.
It always
Oh, right,
confuses the
'cause it
hell
comes
out
out
of me.
at
Like,
an
who the hell
angle.
just hit me? Yeah, exactly. So,
Okay, so
It
here's
looks
the
cool though.
So we're looking at it. We've got Salvation. Soraka gains 70% movement speed, moving toward allied champions below 40% of their maximum health, who are outside of Astral
huge.
Infusion's range. So she can sprint at somebody who is low life very quickly, which is nice. It's kind of like this. It's an opposite of a Vayne type of thing.
and
Star
Astral
Call.
Infusion has a 450 range.
Astral Infusion, yeah.
Yep.
Salvation has a 2,500 range to give you, so
Right.
you could sprint from base at somebody. Star Call, still the same thing. It calls on a star to target location, and standing at the point of impact, take magic damage. Star Call, what is it? Star Call takes more time to fall the further the ability is cast.
So think of it like Leona's ult,
Right, you put a little circle down and it falls toward the.
and it's a pretty wide circle.
Which is nice. I like this. Is another thing. We're going to talk zone control. That's one of the points I want to talk about. I like this because you can drop Star Call now. It's a nice zone control. Enemies standing in the center take 50% increased damage and are slowed for 2 seconds. So big.
It feels,
big buff.
just noticing, it feels a lot like Corky's phosphorus bomb, where it seems like there's a delay before it lands. A little
There
bit
is,
more
'cause
than
it has
other
to fall
abilities.
from
Now it
sky.
slows you.
Yeah,
It depends
so
on how
you see it.
depends on how close you're casting it to you.
Right, like Zig's bomb. Zig's ultimate takes a lot longer.
Oh yeah,
for
because
it
it's
to
got to
hit,
fly
obviously.
through the air.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so-
that's a really good comparison, actually.
Astral,
and they're slowed for 2 seconds. Wow.
oops. So yeah, Astral Infusion has also been changed. Now has a passive on it, which is her W. Each enemy champion hit by Star Call heals Soraka, increased by 1% for every 1% of Soraka's missing health. And now active, Soraka blesses a friendly unit, restoring its health. Astral Infusion cannot be self-cast, and nor can it be cast if Soraka is below 5% of max health because it's an ability on someone that's not Mundo that costs health to. So you're giving your health basically to the person you're casting
Now-
Astral Infusion on.
Interesting point. In order for your Star Call to heal you, you have to have a rank in Astral Infusion.
That annoyed me.
So,
When I
That's
first
the same
started-
thing as
when I
start
first
with
Ash,
Star
started
Call. Don't expect it to heal you until you rank up Astral Infusion.
The same thing as Ash. You have to have a point in Q for W to slow because it
Right.
applies Q stacks. I remember talking about that.
Sejuani
podcast.
as well with a permafrost. So,
And then
Similar-
we'll move on
similarities
to
there.
Equinox. Now a circle. It's a little zone. You drop it down. It silences and roots a person who stands in it. They are silenced as long as they stand in the circle.
this is insane at zoning. It's great because you don't want to walk in it.
It's
You
it's
see,
a
you're like,
lot.
oh, let me go over here.
It's a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Like, and I thought it was going to be good. But playing against it, I didn't.
Right.
It wasn't until I played against it that I realized just how powerful that ability is. I mean, as far as her kick goes, it's kind of her 1-point wonder, but I would rank it by as the second best 1-point wonder in the game.
Right. Well, we'll talk about Wish here real quick. Wish being her ultimate. Soraka calls upon the stars, first removing grievous wounds. That is key. It moves grievous
That
wounds.
is key.
And then restoring health to all allied champions across the field. Wish has 50% increased heal on allied champions below 40% of their maximum health. So
That grievous wounds removal is so annoying when you think you're going to get a kill because of it.
And it can affect untargetable. So if you have an ally who's zone used with low health, it'll heal them while they're still zone used.
Troll pull, troll pool.
yeah. So here's the thing right now, like Dom said earlier, you've heard all this. We're going to talk about each of the abilities and how she's played. But I think the biggest point right now is if you see a Soraka in the game, like Dom said, she has to die first
Murderer.
because she is effectively giving people, she's bringing people back from the dead that aren't, she's
Yeah, I mean
as long as
that
they're not dead.
the heal is spammable.
2 seconds at max rank.
Yeah, it starts with a 4-second cooldown at max rank. It's
Affected by
2.
cooldown reduction, by the way.
Yeah, so it's
not
getting
static.
down to just over a second cooldown if you get 40%. That's like she's going to heal the hell out of whoever takes damage and everything. If you leave Soraka alive, if you get the chance, she's the one you want to wipe from the map. And we lost a couple team fights the other day that we otherwise would have won because we left Soraka alive. We targeted Yasuo, we targeted Ari. The champions that normally to us seem like the priority targets, they were able to live through things just because Soraka was bringing them back from the brink of death.
Removing grievous wounds, healing somebody by 50% more when they're below 40% life, plus they're getting spam natural infusion. Yes, it doesn't have
yanking
the
from the
armor
doorstep.
component anymore, but when it comes to team fights, her entire kit makes her... Actually, you know what? This entire kit rework makes her better in lane and makes her better in team fights. Like, overall, she's a better champion.
How was laning against
I
her?
agree.
Very, very annoying.
Like, I roamed down
The
there and
definitive answer.
she was so low and you wanted to kill her, but you also knew that going in for her was probably a death trap.
We couldn't do it.
She
We
has
couldn't
the
get to it.
biggest indirect taunt in the game now because you have to target her.
Right.
You have to. Question about Astral Infusion I just thought about. What if you have intervention on you? Will it remove your health inside the bubble? Or will that prevent you from removing your health while you're healing people?
I believe it will remove your health. It's considered an ability cost. It's not like receive
Right.
damage or anything like that. It's worth investigating, but I imagine that she would still end up sacrificing her health.
Try it out, see what happens.
Yeah, no.
What I want to see is what happens if you play with Yorick.
See,
If
no,
you just
I was
spend your
playing,
health.
I did play an Aram with her, and she couldn't. She either couldn't or she didn't kill herself. She was sitting at 1% life at one point.
She can't kill herself.
So yeah, it would remove the life and keep her at 1% life. Because all kills all does is stop incoming damage.
Yeah, this is an ability cost. It's
Right.
I don't think it's interpreted as damage.
No, I guess maybe I misinterpreted.
I never noticed with Mundo or anything like that, so I was just wondering.
But
It would make sense if it still did.
talking
hurt
about
you.
lane, so talking about laning with Soraka right now, like DeClaude said earlier, she is a giant magnet. You want to kill her. She was sitting at a quarter life when I played against her the few times, and you just can't get to her because she can just stand in the back, still in XP range, and poke at you. What I like about her kit, and it was what I wanted Sona to be earlier, is I wanted zone control. I wanted to be able to drop down zones, zone control. I wanted to be able to drop down zones that people had to walk around or move around. I like Morgana's pool. I like that Equinox is dropped down, now you have to walk around it, or Sacrifice Being Silenced and Rooted. I like that Star Call can zone you out of bushes, or can zone you, and heal her.
I was gonna say the bush zoning early is huge in itself. Right. Just the ability to
she is
scare
a
somebody
giant
out.
lane bully.
Starcall is also so much less frustrating to play against now. Just like I mean,
Right.
It's no longer a case where, hey, I'm standing kind of near Soraka, so I'm going to take all of the damage. Like now, yeah, the player
There's some
actually has
counterplay.
a hand in it.
Yeah. You know what I've noticed is with this rework, they actually encourage moving away from your ally to ward, because if shit hits the fan, you can get right back in there and save his ass. Mm-hmm. So you can be moving around warding. Don't worry about it. Go to the Dragon Pit, throw that ward real quick. You can leave your AD carry. You don't need to be glued to his side because you're going to be there insanely fast.
I think this is one of the few champions that you have to know how to play her to effectively play against her. Because going in lane and not playing against the new Soraka and not understanding how Star Call and Equinox worked, and I see these, moon flares or rocks or whatever the hell you want to say fly down at the sky at me, and I'm like, how are they hitting me? I thought that, I thought it was like the old one where she just hit it and it came down. I'm like, I'm not standing next to her. And that's when I went and looked it up and and tried it after the fact, and I went, okay, I understand this champion now. I understand to play against her. So next time I lane, it's going to be easier. But again, if you don't understand that Astral Fusion could be spammed and healed somebody, you wouldn't know to attack her either. So this is, it's key to just think about how the champion is being played and how you're going to play against her. But Dom, you brought up a good point to me earlier today on G-Chat, saying that she's much easier or more fun to play against the lane because it's no longer bait out the heal, wait out the armor buff, attack. It's now, try to bait out some of her abilities. It doesn't really matter which one, or, try to dodge abilities. It's no longer bait an ability than wait.
Yeah, I would respond, but I have an ad loading now because I'm on the league with Kia.
Yeah, like we said, we experienced her in that game, and she was the whole reason they were destroying us in team fights.
On the flip side of that, I've seen a lot of Sorakas try to play the old way Soraka was played and just fall flat on their face because you can't do that anymore.
She's aggressive now. She's an aggressive support.
Oh, it's so different now than it used to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, before she was very passive, had to stand in the back, and she still can stand in the back because there's a fairly good range on all of her abilities. Equinox has 925 range, Starcall 950 range. In Astral Fusion, you can just be standing behind your ADC. You don't have to be out front, but you should be, because you should be having that extra zone control of Equinoxes. They're running away from you because you have a Lucian. I think Lucian pairs super well with her, because you could be so aggressive at level 1 and 2 by dropping down slows or dropping down extra damage. And she also shit. What's the word I'm looking for? She also rewards you. There it is. She also rewards you for playing aggressively with Star Call.
She actually has quite a bit of similarity to the conventional MMO tank, and because you're using your health to bring other people back to life and everything and get them out of you are kind of just trusting that your teammates are going to have your back when the opponents start going for you, which is an atypical position for a squishy support champion.
Right.
You know, you never had to think about the game that way playing on Soraka in the past. You're usually not thinking about that when you play Sona. When you're Taric, you're super manly, so you're in the middle of the fight anyway. And Alistar has the press R to win button. But you know, it's a very very different experience from a lot of the support champions in the game, because you really have to have a lot of faith in your teammates. And if you don't trust them, like, you're using your health for nothing, and you're like, you might die, or you're going to be hesitant to use your help on certain teammates, and you're going to lose the fight
your
as a
own
result.
effectiveness.
Yeah,
and if you're used to playing old Soraka, if you mained her in the past, you're going to be paying a lot more attention managing her abilities now with the low cooldowns in lane. So just keep a keen eye on your ally health bars up in the upper left there to use Wish for, and just be aware now it removes grievous wounds, so don't worry about if somebody dives on them with the ignite or whatever the case may be. So try to be cognizant of that and keep a better eye on your allied teammates' health across the map as well, because you might need to use it to save top lane, for example.
So Wish removes grievous wounds. Previously, heal removed grievous wounds and everything. They keep adding, and then in some cases removing. They keep having these mechanics that get rid of the mechanic designed to deal with healing, which does beg the question: is grievous wounds even really needed in the game, or could they address the issues that grievous wounds is intended to solve through other measures, just reducing some of the passive health regen on certain champions, or spell vamp or lifesteal, any of those things?
I think you would have to reduce burst damage on champions in the mid or early, or more of like the mid game burst damage on some of those champions to address the grievous wounds issue. I was going to point out that I don't like the fact that Wish now has that removal, because it removes it across the board, making Ignite nearly useless, making Executioner's Calling Morello-Namicon, well, not nearly, it makes it useless. Like, why put it on a champion besides to get the extra damage if
Well,
they're
and
just
it's one of
gonna be
those
healed through it?
It's also one of those things where now if the enemy team picks Soraka and you have Ignite, you have to completely rethink whether or not you even want to have Ignite for any matchup that you're going to be in, just because she can remove it on a whim.
I mean, it doesn't invalidate Executioner's Calling and Morello-Namicon, because
You reapply it right
you're
away,
going
yeah.
to reapply it and everything, and that's still going to combat the healing from Astral Blessing. And given how much healing can come out from that ability, like, you definitely need to find ways to deal with that. But I think it does, like, there are major concerns with Ignite. I think you're 100% right on that.
If it does become a problem, I could see maybe a Band-Aid fix being Wish ignores grievous wounds instead of removing it.
I could see
Maybe
that as
so
well.
its heal can get through maximum effect, but
That
it's
might
still
be a
there
better
for
way
future
of.
heals.
I mean, I know they intend it so that, hey, now you can use Astral Blessing again, and like, the reality is
Astral
that
Fusion.
Soraka has, Soraka has no way of, dealing, like, getting rid of grievous wounds. If Wish doesn't remove it, then all you have to do is get grievous wounds to counter Soraka, and that's sort of a frustrating thing as the Soraka player. But now, without grievous wounds, it's frustrating as the playing against her.
I mean,
so.
that's what you say about Mundo the same way. You just have to bring Ignite to stop a Mundo, but that's obviously not the case all the time, because there's a point. I can't think or talk tonight. I am just so out of it. There's a point where Mundo is going to... There's a tipping point for Mundo where Ignite, Executioner's Calling, Grievous Wounds doesn't stop him anymore. So off the top of my head, I don't know what it is. I don't like the fact. I like it. I love it a lot that Grievous Moves is removed. I do think that should be ignored, but I don't like the fact that you have to completely rethink how you're going to play the game and how what you're going to do.
Off of one ability.
And wait, what it is it's protect the Soraka comp now. You just build a protect the Soraka comp and everybody stays alive. You get a Yasuo, you get a Mundo, and then you get, a wall like a Thresh or a Leona in the front, and Soraka can just stand in the back and heal everybody to full.
I mean, you won't really have a Thresh or Leona because Soraka's taking that role.
Right, sorry, I was thinking
team
like a
team
mid lane. Hell, you could run Orianna.
You're just gonna have to be more cognizant of Wish. It's pretty damn obvious when she uses it, and you could ignite after the fact. So I can see that being the counterplay for it, but you got to worry about it now.
Yeah, and it's cooldown gated. It's not like she gets to quickly
Right.
use
I really
it.
That
do
the Mundo Soraka combo too, I feel like is just going to be a nightmare. Like if Mundo can
Or
hit that
Nidalee
critical,
Soraka.
yeah. If Mundo can hit a critical mass point where he can just
He's unbelievable.
walk in, you ignite him, then he's like, whatever, I just got wished on. I'm gonna get all my health back, and there's nothing you can do about it. That's gonna be really frustrating.
Maybe that's the comeback of the Executioner's Calling. Here we go.
Maybe they'll rework Executioner's Calling so it's actually a good item.
That would be awesome. I want it to be like a Cutlass. I want it to be a build item into something really cool.
I do want to try Soraka out of the mid lane. I realize that she's not as good as she was, but, with a 0.52% or 52% AP ratio on Star Call, and Equinox having a 80% or 0.8 AP ratio, I think you could actually build a team comp around a hyper
AP
carry.
Soraka mid.
An AP Soraka mid, kind of like what she did before. It won't be as good because she won't be a giant lane bully, and she doesn't have the wave clear, but I think
That's
in like a
interesting.
solo queue game, you
and-
could probably
And she
pull
could
off
roam
and
really
protect
well,
right.
if you're...
Especially if
you're the
somebody
lanes
on your
getting
team is
hurt.
getting ganked. Like, say your jungler gets invaded and he's below 40%, she can go and help out in no
Go
time.
hyperspeed.
Yeah,
It's one of those where you just kind of realize that mid lane, being the most important lane, you're probably gonna lose it because she's gonna get pushed to tower or out traded. But she could potentially live through it with Astral Infusion, or she can't heal herself.
she
but that's
can't-
No,
really
she
the
can't heal
problem.
herself.
With
That's-
Star
that's what I
Call
was gonna
healing
say.
herself.
Well, that's the
though.
thing. The Astral Infusion, you wouldn't even level
She
up
kinda
if you were
can
playing.
heal
No,
herself.
except you have to
You can
get
put-
the heal.
You get
1
You
point.
get one
in it.
point in it, yeah, right, and then you can start healing yourself with Star Call.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And the
It's not a big deal.
Equinox,
It's like, yeah.
the Equinox may be enough of a deterrent to keep some junglers from being able to get to her, just in the fact that if they go into the zone, she sees them coming because she has a ward up. She can drop it. Somebody like Vi or somebody like that who runs into it, they can't queue to smack her if she's,
Not as
can
good as a Victor
throw it
W.
down.
Yeah, see, I don't think
Right.
it's going to be great. Like, it's obvious that her kit is not made so she can play
But it could
mid lane
work.
anymore. But I think it could potentially work. Maybe not at an LCS level because she can't wave clear or really trade with anybody because all she has is Star Call and auto attacks. But I could kind of see it in a ranked 5s or solo queue game if you are really comfortable on it. It's something I want to try. It's probably not great, but
It is interesting.
It's
I
an
like where
interesting
you're-
thought.
I like where you're going with that, because just reading the abilities, theory crafting here, it could work. Let's try it tonight afterwards.
Dom, it's on
Take
you.
it on Dom.
Okay.
You're the
I'll play
support,
it.
and you're playing mid now, so
I'll
let's
play
see it.
No problem.
I'll play it. It's fine.
I'll murk some kids with Star Call. I would drop it on their face like it's hot. Play my Celestial Soraka.
You can. I'll take Victor top lane then. We can try out all the
Oh
stuff. that you
God!
talked about.
Like the worst comp to have a Soraka in.
There
We
we
need
go.
hyper carry, Stob. We need Jax.
Victor's a new hyper carry man. It's happening.
Wow. Do we want to kind of speak on Azir? I'm
Sure. I don't think we've really talked about him at all, so.
He's really hard to play.
I don't.
He is a
Right now-
high skill cap champion.
Right. Even when he seems to be playing well, the range on his Arise, it's so short that it just really limits him. You can be kind of sneaky with Arise and Shifting Sands. Throw it out there, make it dash, and you get a little bit more
Well,
range out of it, and
even
then
with-
jump to it, and then pop another one. But even then, he seems just very underwhelming. I'm like the Adams old Lee Sin idea here. I like to ban him because I don't want people on my team picking him and just losing horribly. So
I still say ban Lee Sin. Fuck that guy.
yeah, me too.
I have-
but I think it's work.
I was looking at a Darian's build today, and you could actually look at. There's a website out there where you can look at what the pro player's been playing, and he's been spamming Azir. You could tell where he was learning it, and then suddenly it was just win because he
It
learned how to
clicked.
play the champion. And all he builds is strictly
Swag.
AP. Builds no attack speed, builds no cooldown reduction, just builds strictly AP.
I'm looking on that list of games right now.
Yeah,
and
I
he
wanna go look at it
dominated-
here.
He dominated in the games that he was into.
There was even a
Really?
game where he
So-
was like 2-9-0 and they still won or something like. And that was like one of his games where he started to click. But playing, I've only played against
playing
one
top.
Azir, and it was in an Aram when he
Yeah,
got
he's
AP. And a Rise in Conquering Sands does a lot of damage because it's 70% AP. That's how much damage the Arise soldiers do when they attack somebody. Every auto attack 70% HP.
It does do a lot of damage, but at the same time, it also telegraphs itself in that if you watch an Azir who's out of range of his minions being able to hit you, and he's not close enough in range to like do anything to you, if he drops 2 of his soldiers down, he's probably gonna shoot his Q at you. So just get
Yeah, but
ready
it's really
to dodge.
quick. It's fast.
It's very fast, but with
you can
correct
also-
positioning, you can get out of the way of it.
I want to
You
just
can
quick note.
sacrifice your knock up to E to it, and then you get longer range on Q now. So
I want to just quick
They're just on
note
the edge.
Darian's getting Athenes, and that has cooldown reduction on it. So, and then that
okay.
translates into attack speed. Now, otherwise, yeah, it is pure AP, but he's getting 20% attack speed and also CDR for it.
Actually, he is
I was going to be
running-
I was going to be shocked to learn that he didn't.
He
get
actually runs
Athenes.
15% cooldown reduction per level runes. Not 50% per level, but 15%
But the-
at max rank.
Right.
The
I've
been-
CDR per level.
I know
been
Jin
pinned to the wall.
Stealth's Trace is getting Berserker Greaves on him. He's the top laner for that team. He gets
I've been
Berserker
pinned to a
Greaves.
wall by his Emperor's Divide. I've had it shut
Really?
me against the wall, then I couldn't move until it was gone.
Well, that's great.
So
Stay
use
away
that
from
properly,
walls.
and you can pretty much Jarvan ult somebody and not be in there with them. Just say, you're in timeout. I'm going to move over here now. Sit in timeout until it's gone. And how long does that
So
last?
Arise works like Zyra's W, right? Where you drop 2 of them down really quickly.
You can.
Well,
I mean, it's a slight delay.
Yeah, it's got ammo counter.
So it's
A
like
2
Zyra's
ammo
W.
counter.
Mhm.
So yeah, once it goes, then it's got a longer cooldown.
I will never be able to play Azir. I can't do the fast
recharge.
two
Well,
plant.
You
Zyra
don't
thing.
necessarily want to.
It's a second and a half.
It's not necessarily beneficial to have 2 of them on the same spot. Like
Right.
there are times where, unlike Zyra, who's going to just get a lot of extra damage, when they attack the same target, they actually deal reduced damage. But
No,
it
it's
also
more
means
for the
you-
Conquering Sands where they all shoot their spear forward and smack somebody. You want them all. You want both of them to hit the spear.
No, because it function in that respect. It works kind of like Lulu and Pix in that it aims from
Right,
Like
the
they both go
spot
at the
where
same
they're at.
point.
I
So
know,
get
but you are
different
taking
control.
a giant burst damage by eating
Sure.
2 spears to the face.
Sure, but you all if you
have
miss,
3 up at
then
a
you
time,
then you've
actually.
given up everything.
Yeah, if you miss, things are repositioned. They're potentially not in a
Sure,
great
sure.
position, and then you're shit out of luck for however long it is.
I mean,
taking you
and the
there.
other thing is that they charge toward and get to that spot irrespective of your distance from them. Like if you're way in front because one's on the last legs of its cooldown, it's just going to shoot and like rocket way past you towards the spot where you told it to go.
I understand that. That's why I think that this champion has a very high skill cap, and the fact that
Oh, yeah, I
you
agree
need
on
to
that.
really know how to drop both the champ. You need, I think, to get the max damage, you need to be positioned properly to drop 2 soldiers down and then spear them. It's not drop a soldier spear, drop a soldier spear. It's drop spear.
It's
Yeah.
A
burst
really
the
good
shit out.
skill to have when playing Azir is knowing how to orb walk,
Yes,
because you kind of have to do that, and you have to be within a certain range to have
There's
your
no
soldiers
kind
attack.
of having to do it about it. It's one of those things. If you have 2 of your arises down, your soldiers are up, and you're ready to smack somebody with them. If you stop moving and your soldiers are in range of something, and you're not spamming the S key, they're just going to automatically auto attack anything they're next to, just because they're an extension of your auto attack. So you have to the entire time I'm
Right.
playing him, I'm
you
spamming the
click.
S key while I'm trying. Like, there's a whole lot of micromanagement, like on a totally different scale than almost any other champ I've played.
One of the reasons one of the weird things about this champion is he has an ability that just outright deals damage to a turret. If you cast the soldier on a turret, it deals 105 to 530 damage plus 7 or plus zero point 0.7 of your ability power. And that's a huge chunk of damage. Like that makes him an interesting sieging champion. That makes him a very interesting split pusher, especially because he can like throw him out in front of him and go over walls and that type of thing, and just get out of dodge before anybody's coming his way. And then he can also raise the turrets to sort of be an anti split push type champion as well.
I don't like him as a split push champion because I don't think he can duel somebody effectively. Like he can with a number of items, and to be a good split push champion, we've always said you need to be able to duel at least one person that comes up to you.
And I'm going to give you that point. Like that's 100% true. At the same time, it could be a case where he just split pushes, then he leaves and gets to his team faster than the opponent can,
But
because
don't
the
you have
opponent
to
has
wait for the recharge time on Arise? So you are using an Arise and if you can Arise Conquering Sands an
Yes.
entire wave and blow it out, you still have to wait 10, 11, 10, or excuse me, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8 seconds.
But you have 2 charges of Arise.
Sure, but to do maximum damage, you want 2 Arises. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't
Yeah,
disagree that
You'll
he
be
could.
using it on a turret.
Right, I don't disagree he could be a split push champion, but I think you are better off keeping 2 stacks of Arise on you if you are going to come up with your team and
And
do a team fight.
the other issue he has as a split push champion is if he does miss that Q and there's anybody who's a strong duelist that's able to fight him, he is insanely squishy.
Oh yeah, he's fucked if he misses that.
So it's one of those things like you either need
No,
to
I don't
be
think you're
able
going to duel with him. I think you're just
Yeah.
going to push.
Well,
and
it's
then
one of
get
those
out.
things like either you have to be so ahead that you can basically Q somebody, it hurts them so much that your next couple smacks of your soldiers are going to kill them,
Sure.
or you need to just go away. Like you need to get
So
out
a
of
question, Fritz. Do they even have MR? Because it says it does magic damage to the turret.
I think they do, because Lichbane deals magic damage.
Okay.
I don't know. We can look into that.
The
Yeah,
Shooter's Legacy?
No.
No, he's
The like
talking about
Just turrets in general.
the
'cause it
Arise
does-
damage on the turret is
Right.
considered magic damage.
Oh, okay.
So do turrets have built-in MR like they have built-in armor?
Got it.
Right.
Interesting.
No, they don't. They don't have built-in MR because normal turrets they don't have MR because everything is modified based on your auto attacks. You can only hit them with auto attacks, so they only have armor. And the amount of
They
damage
do have
you do as
MR.
an AP champion is based on that.
They do have MR.
Yeah, they have reinforced armor, unique passive. Reinforced armor, they gain 150 armor and 150 magic resistance when no enemy minions are in range for
That's
attack.
just
So it's
so
situational.
That's only
they
if
can
you're
get
the
out.
only
That's
one
only if you're
attacking
backdooring it.
it. Right.
Right. So
Interesting things I learned about the soldiers from Arise. Their auto attack procs spell vamp.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
That makes
and
sense.
like I was just screwing around in a bot game, and I was like, I need to find out if this works. So yeah,
So-
turns out you can just sit there and like tank a shit ton of damage because
And Riley's
you have the
slow.
attack speed. Yeah,
They're all an extension of what you could do with your normal auto attack.
that's like a spell.
sorta, but also like a spell.
Your auto attack is a
because-
spell.
Yeah,
Their spell auto attack.
because your auto attack doesn't benefit from spell vamp.
I don't think you should play Azir as any kind of split pusher or ever split push because, just kind of go back to our point that we were talking about a few moments ago. In my opinion, Azir is played as a burst mage, can play it out of the top lane very well, has great zone control, yada yada, but shouldn't be split pushing because one, you need the 2 Arises up to do damage, but number 2, because you can always find a split pusher who can do better than he can. So you were probably better off putting, finding some other split. If you want to split push with him, you're gonna have to do it out of the mid lane or the jungle. But in reality, I would just play him as a team fight, straight teleport, jump in, wall for tons of damage, double Arise, Conquering Sands, and somebody dies. Like,
I'm not
he is there for straight just power, not CC.
I'm
And
not
remember,
saying
the extra soldiers in Conquering Sands will hit, but they only deal 25% damage after the first.
I'm
Just so
not
you know.
saying split push is the ideal way to play him. I'm saying that he can fill that role better than a considerable number of other champions if push comes to shove and you have to you are trying to figure out how to beat the enemy team, and split pushing is
Sure.
That's suddenly
Or in a
that's
siege.
in his list of options, and it's not necessarily there for a lot of other champions.
Or in a siege, when your marksman goes in
He's
to get that one
great in
quick
a
hit,
siege.
go in, hit the arise, and run back. But it is a short range,
He's
450,
great in
so
a
you kind of
siege,
put
and
yourself out there.
he's a great anti-siege champion as well, just by being able to bring a turret back.
Right. It's very
And-
easy to forget that Emperor's Divide, his ultimate, has a 60% AP ratio on it. So if you're smacked with that as long as the entire combo, really, Azir, yeah, he's got some. I don't know what his bugs are. I know he's got a couple bugs that are making him harder to play right now.
Yeah, shifting sands is really, really unresponsive. It's tough to use.
Yes,
Okay.
it is.
There are a lot of times where you feel like your cursor is right on top of the thing you want to go to, and it just doesn't. He doesn't.
So you have to have like pinpoint accuracy type of thing.
It just is. It doesn't even respond sometimes.
Okay.
I was really frustrated by that ability when I was playing.
I
him.
think when we were playing against one, he didn't even use shifting sands. I don't think I'd even put a point
he
in
saw
it.
I
it.
think he only used his ult once though.
No, the alt's Emperor's Divide.
I know. I only saw him use it once.
Oh.
Don't expect to do really good with him coming out the gate. You need to practice a
No,
lot.
he's,
Yeah,
Because he
Yeah,
is
Darian
rough
had
to
like
play.
6
Skill
losses in a row before he started winning. So
I kind of think
And he
this is
lost
a Yasuo
hard.
situation. Like everybody was saying, oh, he's not good because it took people a long time to figure out how to use it.
Yeah,
And they kept buffing Yasuo, and now look at him. He's a
I
Nice.
do
By the
think
way,
Azir has the ability to be good if people play him as straight AP and play him out of the top lane. Just fix shifting sands. Coming
I played
from-
against one
Go ahead.
earlier as Garen, and I just destroyed him because early in the laning phase, there's not
He's
much
so
you can do
squishy.
against someone who
his early
You
game's
know.
tough.
it is excruciating early. But quick note on Sundisk, his passive, that's where he can raise a turret on rubble of a turret. You can't use it on an enemy inhibitor turret or enemy nexus turret for obvious reasons, because then it would attack the inhibitor or the nexus. But you can use it on a friendly inhibitor turret.
Right.
I've seen it there before.
Well, get
just
him
so you
in
know.
an Aram. It's
his
annoying.
passive's always up. I don't know what
So
the
never
hell.
surrender.
In an
you can
Aram
use
with
him.
him, he prolongs Arams, and I think he can actually win you a number of them. So
He turned around
Because
for
of that,
sure
yeah.
one fight because of that passive.
oh
Yep.
yeah.
Like we engaged, and right at the same time the passive came back up, and so hey, now we thought we had no turret, and now there's a fucking turret shooting at us.
And that was the third time he had used his passive in that ARAM.
Also, keep in mind, it gives you the gold for killing the minions. So if you're booking out of there and you want to just get some quick gold while you're running back to heal, pop it in there. Pop it up there. It'll wipe that minion wave that's coming in, and you'll get the gold for it. Gives you all the golds.
Yep, there we go. I think that's a good Azir discussion. See, I like waiting for these champions
But he's
and waiting
tough.
for a couple weeks to really talk about them. It gives time to see
Yeah,
what people
I'm-
are building and to
I-
see if people are going to play it.
I like the information you had on Darian. I didn't know about that.
It's
that
funny.
He's been pushing it.
I played him a couple games, and after the first game, I almost just refunded him because I'm like, I don't have the time to learn this champion because it's
Really?
like I feel like it's such a big investment to learn him. I just like he seems really interesting and he's fun, but it's not even that I don't have the patience to do it. It's I feel like the time investment to play that character to the full extent of his ability is so huge compared to so many other champions.
Well, one of the weird parts about this game at this stage is that we're so used to pros taking a champion and playing that champion and show what you're supposed to do with that champion, and that basically serves as the teacher. And like, so the pro plays it one way, and even if you can't do it as well as the pro does, you understand how to play that champion and everything, what you're supposed to do, and you can work towards that goal. Because of his release, we haven't seen a lot of pros really doing it, and so by virtue of that, it's kind of experimental territory for everybody right now. And where that was normal, in season one, that's just not what we're used to anymore.
Well, we also don't have a lot of pros that are streaming him because most of the pros that stream are in Korea
Right.
or China.
No, that's what I was getting at. Like, none of the pros are streaming him because they're in Korea. I'm not sure Korea's even on this patch yet, but they're definitely not.
There were a lot of Koreans that were playing.
Well, they must be because Jinair.
that were
playing
playing
him.
Victor, so they're on the current patch.
But the pros that stream might be shying away from the champion because they are competing,
Keeping it,
and they don't want to. They
Yep.
don't want to like learn mechanics
Right.
for a champion they
Yeah.
can't use.
It's gotta suck to be a pro and have to play on 4.14 when you're.
Oh yeah, it's got to suck to be
For
a
a
guy
long
playing
time.
video games for a living.
Oh
wanna
no,
see- I wanna see-
couldn't do it. I could not play video games.
I couldn't
for
either,
a
but
living.
if you're that passionate
Right,
about
you're
something,
doing that for a living. I want to see some good Azir teleporting, top. You're probably going to have teleporting in from behind in the bottom lane, for example, throwing
Smacking a
out
wall.
your ultimate and having Vayne condemn into the wall at the same time and just bam, meeting in the middle.
I will say
some
I
bullshit.
played a game as AD carry Gnar with an Azir support, and as soon as the enemy AD carry support backed, Frown Power and my buddy who was playing Azir just went Superman mode, flash behind, knocked her back into us, and we obliterated her. And there was nothing she
Insect.
could do about it because she
Nice.
couldn't run away.
I'm still
it was
convinced
the
that Azir can
Insect
support.
Azir.
I don't think it's gonna work.
I'm gonna let Dave, but I'm gonna hold that conversation for a little bit because I know Daze is waiting for the bug of shifting sands and a few others to be fixed before she really tries
Before
it.
she
but
puts in some time. yeah.
we'll talk about it. But I'm actually going to start wrapping up this show unless we have a ton more to talk about. I didn't think we did. Okay. Thanks, guys, for listening to Trinity Force podcast, though. We appreciate all your help, and I just want to point out one more time: Elevator Brewing Company, 1 p.m., October 18th. I can't talk. Sorry, shit show of a night. I'm tired. I started working out again this week, and I didn't go to bed till 12:30 last night. It's
Oh,
been
yeah, isn't that exhausting?
So it's not working out for you?
not at all.
Nobody
I'm
likes you.
exhausted, but I'm gonna go play at least one game.
Do you even lift, bro?
I do lift now. Columbus, Ohio, October 18th, 1 p.m. Elevator Brewing Company. We'll be there. You can tweet at us if you need directions or anything. And that's it for the Trinity Force podcast. Be here on Monday. Please be here on Monday for the live show. 12 is your secret word for that day. 12. We're out,
12.
guys.
There's a
see-
dozen reasons you should see it. So
Yes.
Beautiful. Well, guys, that's episode 199 of the Trinity Force podcast. We'll see you for episode 200 on Monday. Peace!
See ya.
bye, guys.
Bye.